Good afternoon, everybody. This is Alex with Underground Noise. This is Webisode number 19. I'm surrounded by the entire band Crusadist. Welcome, you guys. How's it going today?
Doing good. How's it going, everybody?
I'm wonderful, thanks. Just can't complain about nothing.
Well, that's always a good day then.
Yeah, if you guys don't mind introducing yourselves and let everybody know what instrument you play.
Sean, vocalist.
Luke, lead guitar.
Kevin, bass. Aaron, guitar.
Jason, drums.
He's way in the back.
First off, I'd like to ask you guys, who are your musical influences?
They range from a wide range of different bands. We've all been metal fans for our whole lives. I grew up listening to a lot of like the classics like Iron Maiden, Slayer, Metallica, and then I got really heavily into Guar, and then I just dove into the realm of all sorts of different bands. So I find a lot in all types of music.
Mine are mainly rooted in European types of music, so a lot of like the Swedish death metal, and not as much on the American side of things. I'm a huge fan of like Dismember and Hypocrisy and Trails. Really anything from over there, but yeah, mostly a lot of death metal and a lot of thrash.
I grew up with mostly the new age metal movement, so I'm mostly into the new age stuff, but Metallica, Pantera basically guided me through my younger youth, as I was more of a guitar player and mostly into Pantera, Dimebag, they're all soloing and all of that.
Oh, I really like Black Dahlia Murder, and I'm a big Cannibal Corpse fan, so those are my favorites, and that's probably where my melodic and death metal influences come from mostly.
I enjoy Suffocation, Megadeth, any of the bigger death metal bands. More of an Angel is always great. I love Megadeth, classical music, of course, too. It's
Suffocation. All right. Suffocation. You throw that one in there again.
Very cool. I had an interview with Terrence not too long ago.
Trying to spread pass the phone around so everyone can kind of be a little bit more audible for you.
Sounds good to me. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is your guys' debut album, right?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Very excellent album. I would like to ask you guys, which song off this album did you find the most difficult to write, and which one would be your favorite?
For me, difficulty-wise, I would say Tempered and Black Flame was a little challenging vocals-wise because there's a lot of different changes and there's just a lot of different possibilities with it. So I spent a good amount of time trying to find the right patterns vocally and the right essence for the song. One of my favorites that I feel is real connected to me is The Noble Savage. It's just very personal. It talks about the duality of the warrior, trying to be a fierce warrior, but also fighting for a true cause, a good cause. Essentially, the Crusadist is good at heart, but we're savage killers. So that's kind of the thesis of that. What about you, Luke?
As far as which song it was probably the hardest to write for me would be Beyond the Count of Grief. That one, like the main verse came together really well, and the transitions were pretty good, but they were like missing some pieces, and we deliberated on that one for a little while, so that one was pretty tough. My favorite song on the album, though, would probably be Moonlit Brigade. The heaviness combined with some of like the speedier parts, they keep it interesting. It's not too over the top.
For me, I would have to say the hardest would probably be Only the Fearless Ride, because just like the different breakdowns I tried to incorporate with thrash style and all of that, like has that new age type of feel too in it. It gives it a little bit of push. So incorporating all of them with the different mode sequences and all that was a little bit of a challenge in ways.
So the hardest one writing wise, in my opinion, was Hammer at Dawn, because it was based off of a riff that I wrote a long time ago that I fucking hated. And like, but we all sat down together at Luke's house and we all like put together a killer song. And for my favorite song, I mean, I don't know, man. I really like playing Tempered in Black Flame. I like how it's kind of the one that's jarring and it kind of fucking pulls you in a bunch of directions and it fucking is just pummeling and killer. So
the most difficult song to write for me was probably Tempered in Black Flame, because there was a riff there that wasn't exactly intuitive. So it took me some time to hear it over and over, and I really worked on it hard. And it was the one that I probably put the most work into. But as far as favorite song, I mean, I love them all, but probably Blood and Conquest or Tempered in Black Flame as well.
Very cool. For Blood and Conquest, when I first heard that song, as I said in my review, I was like, holy shit. Right away.
Yeah.
Yep, these guys are going to go places.
Thank you so much. That's why we put that one as the opening track. It kind of hits you right off the jump. You know, it's just right when you put it in, it sets the bar, sets the tone, I should say.
Absolutely. Who came up with the band name? And also, did you guys have any other band name ideas that you came up with before?
Well, I kind of had the name idea for Crusadist for a couple of years before we actually formed. It's just me being a vocalist and a lyricist. I'm always writing stuff and trying to play around with words and use words in unique ways. And it just kind of was like a basically sorry, I lost train of thought for a second there. My phone died out. Basically, I put the word together out of Crusader and Sadist, and that was basically just kind of depicting that duality of the warrior. And I had it. I was going to use it as a song, and one day I drew up a logo, and then when the opportunity for us to get together and jam came about, I presented the name, and I showed my idea for the logo, and everyone dug it, so we rolled with that. Prior to that, we were all kind of together in a project that we called Human Extinction, and that was a little bit different style. It was not as melodic. It was more straight death metal, not as many different facets as Crusadist. But that was also because it was formed with other musicians who had their influence embedded, and we were kind of going with that theme. Me and Kevin, we were in a project called Apothecarian. That was like another kind of hybrid word that I put together. Carrion, like dead flesh. So it was kind of like the idea of like this kind of apothecary figure that was creating life from death. It was kind of symbolic in that nature for that. So
That sounds really cool. Something I could get into.
thank you, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. Wanted to ask you guys, I noticed that there's no lyrics in this. Is there a reason behind that?
Yes. The reason behind that, I'll pretty much boil down to budget at the end. We're a fully independent band, self-funded, everything. So we work hard, we work extra, we find extra jobs, extra ways to make money so we can put it into the band. And we had goals in mind for the release, and we spent a lot on the art, and it kind of came down to a budget thing. At the end, we had other ideas to do something kind of cool on the next pressing, where I wanted to kind of make more of like a booklet with more story information as well as lyrics, and feature more art that was some kind of like a specialty thing for people. I really, myself particularly, I try to put importance to the lyrics as much as possible. A lot of people nowadays sometimes decide that lyrics are not as important. It's more so just the vocal sound, whereas we're very conceptual in ways and deep with our lyrics. So I kind of wanted them to be showcased, and it's kind of upsetting not to be able to do it, but it just kind of came down to a budget. It was very expensive to add the booklet, and we just thought we'll make our lyrics accessible on our social networking sites and try to at least put out the album. Especially nowadays, a lot of people are downloading digital rather than buying physical. However, we've had quite a bit of success with people wanting the physical. So it makes me want to have that insert in there with those lyrics even more now, but that's something we plan to rectify in the future. It's just, like I said, we're totally independently funded and we do everything out of our own pockets. And it just kind of came down to a time frame and a budget issue.
I can understand that. That can happen sometimes for sure.
Yeah, we were juggling a lot. We were rather ambitious in the beginning. We put out our demo in 2018 in July, and less than a year later, we were in the studio recording an album. And we hired Par Olofsson for the album cover art, and then we had to pay graphic designers for laying out the format for the digipacks, and we had bought merch designs and printed our own merch and backdrops and all that stuff. So we had a lot going on at once, and we were very ambitious. We wanted to put out a statement that we were professional and self-sufficient, and that we were willing to roll up our sleeves and make it happen regardless, by any means necessary.
That's killer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sean, this is a question for you personally, but it's also for everybody else. How do you keep your vocals from cutting out? And also, how do you guys keep your energy level up while you're on stage and while you're on tour?
Well, for me, I mean, I don't really have any crazy remedies or methods. I try to stay hydrated. A lot of it is preparation, practice, use your vocals, keep them flexible, keep them worked out and ready. That way you don't wane and decay. And because you're human, vocal cords are a human instrument, and when they start to decay and wane, you just have to recover. You have to rest. There's no coming back. It's only going to decline. So you kind of just have to be familiar with your own personal threshold and work on building that and building off of that and expanding that. When I feel fatigued and I need relief, the good old tried and true tea with some honey and lemon. I try to do other little vocal warm-ups, so it's less intensive, but it still keeps them stretching, so that way they don't seize up and tighten up. Hydration is the biggest key. Also, it's good to have a good cough drop with honey, lemon, echinacea. That's been working well for me. It's soothing and it takes a lot of the strain off, so they can recover. And you just gotta be aware of yourself because it's a part of you. It's an internal instrument, and you just have to kind of be aware of that. And as far as energy, me personally, I try to stay rested, hydrated. We try to eat healthy and not have a bunch of garbage that'll drag us down. Not a lot of fried food and stuff like that, because it just makes you feel sluggish, and we don't want to bring that to the stage. We want to be ready and come to destroy. So that's for me personally. That's what I do.
Yep. So as far as staying healthy and everything on the road, what Sean said is pretty much it. Making sure you use your body, don't just sit around and do nothing all day. So try and take walks especially before we play a show. Try and do 50 push-ups or something just to get the blood flowing. Making sure you keep track of what you're eating and not eating a whole bunch of crap, because you need to give your body what it needs. So vitamins and healthy stuff, not just gas station food.
Yeah, I would say for me, definitely balanced eating throughout the day. So less fat phone trips, stuff like that. Vitamins, obviously, and a lot of stretching and just sitting there dingling my fingers around trying to keep them warmed up. As we're sitting here in the car, just warming them up the whole time. That's pretty much it.
I'm sorry, he said dangling his fingers.
I really don't know what that means. That could mean like twiddling the thumbs or playing with your ears or your nose, maybe your chin hair. I was about to say, is that Jesus there?
Tingle your fingers. No, I feel like I'm getting fucking helpless, dude. I don't know what the fuck is up, man. What do I do for energy? I don't know. I hope to God the crowd starts fucking moving, and then I'll fucking throw down harder. It's impossible not to have energy when you're playing this music, man. You get up there, the drums start hitting, dude, and I'm like, all right, it's go time, and that's what we do. We fucking go.
Coffee.
Coffee. and plenty of finger diddling.
Well,
I don't
that
play
guy.
an instrument, but I diddle my fingers incessantly all the time. And I will now because that's a good tip.
We're gonna diddle our
You
fingers.
could always fondle his hair or something, you know, could always pull on and be like, hey, I need some of that.
Yeah.
But then you got the chin hair to prove it too.
Yeah.
Little tuggaroo there, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
I'll ask you guys also, how does your music differ from other bands that are out there?
Because it's from us, and there's nobody else like us. I mean, essentially, there's nobody like anybody. So we just play what comes natural to us. So that way, it's got our essence naturally in it, and I think that's what makes it unique because it's a message from our hearts and souls. As far as sound, we're influenced by a lot of great bands, and we just love the music, so we play what we love, and we take it as like carrying the torch of those who have done it before us, like bands that have inspired us and that we've grown up with. We try to honor what they brought to the table and just expand upon that, and we just play what we feel. So
I'm gonna interject. I'm gonna say that we don't intend to play like anybody. We have zero. We're not gonna say we want to write a song like this band or we want to write a song like this band. That never enters our mind. It's all this stuff that comes out. Yeah, man, that sounds fucking awesome. We should do that. Shit like that. When people bring stuff to the table. Just want to put that up.
Cool. Here's a question that I ask every musician that's out there that I've interviewed so far. If you guys could bring back one dead musician, or say possibly two, who would it be?
for me, it would be Dave Brocky and Corey Smoot. I was friends with those guys, and their passing was a very personal thing for myself. I grew up listening to them, and then I ended up being able to meet them and work with them, and became friends with them. And they've been to my house, I've been to theirs, and they're just they mentored me in my early years of doing music and kind of helped show me the ropes and ways, and we're very cool about that. So it'd be great to have just one more moment to have them in my presence again.
For me, the one passing musician that I would bring back would be Alexi Leo from Children of Bodom. When he passed away, that hit me pretty hard for a while because he was most of the reason that I started playing shred style guitar and listening to a lot of neoclassical type of music and Yngwie and bands like Mortis and all that kind of stuff. He paved the way for a lot of modern shredders. And I mean, hell, I owned 4 of his guitars at one point all at once, and basically fucking praise the guy. But yeah, he would be, if I was to choose one, it'd be Alexi Leo for sure.
Yeah, for me, it would definitely probably be Dimebag Darrell and Vinnie Paul from Pantera, because obviously I grew up loving Pantera and I just idolized always playing Pantera riffs. And Hell Yeah, was always cool with me too, and all the little side projects that they both did, like Damage Plan and all of that cool shit.
I wouldn't bring anybody back. I wouldn't bring anybody back at all. They made their mark on the world, and and let him rest in peace. I don't want no zombies.
I don't know, maybe Dio, someone like that. James Dio.
Now remind me, who's driving the vehicle today?
Luke,
Hey,
Luke's been the captain of the ship, so he's been manning all the drive time. We all are available to help, but he's just been comfortable in his captain chair, so we let him handle.
Like take turns or do a Chinese fire drill or something like that.
yeah, right.
Be a little.
Now, that would be
old
my
school
shit
there.
we have in your town.
Yeah, we are packed in here.
Well, I was gonna say, Kevin, I noticed that you clear your throat a little bit, and you must have those fiddling fingers in your throat or something.
He had diddling feet. Never mind. Somebody slapped me in the head 3 times at the show last night while I was on stage in a loving way, but it was the first time anyone had actually, like, I get people to rub my head from time to time, but never slap. I'm feeling I might have a diddling finger attack on my head at some point.
Thank God it's not a concussion.
All right.
Yeah, for real. Well, let's see. I got some more questions for you guys. Is this your first interview?
Not our first interview in general, but probably our first big Zoom interview. Yeah, like all together, being on the road together and whatnot. This is first for us, for sure.
Very cool. So I was going to ask you, what's your favorite thing about this tour so far?
The learning experience, playing in new towns and seeing new people enjoy our music. And, you know, it's kind of surreal to see how we actually have reached more people than we kind of thought, you know, like people were genuinely excited to see us, and they came up and told us how they've been listening to our music. And it's very humbling, and it's very awesome. Outside of that, just being able to be on tour with people like Jeremy Kling and Taylor Norberg, Terry Butler and Lee Harrison, it's a huge honor. They're outstanding individuals and musicians, and it's a great learning experience to be able to be so close with them on a tour. It's very, for lack of a better word, intimate.
Sean phrased it perfectly. My thoughts are the same. A lot of like just, you know, every town we get to, there's another thing to pick up and another thing to learn, especially when you're on tour with people that are legends in the death metal community, especially with Terry and Lee. I mean, they've all been super hospitable with us and have been taking really good care of us. And yeah, it's been a really cool learning experience. Every show we go to, we get to play a lot of cool new towns. Definitely can't complain. It's really fun.
Yeah, Sean summed it up pretty well with the whole, you know, you go to different areas and meet new people and they start to love your band. You know, that's what it's pretty much about for me, seeing them people come out and love the band, you know, for what it is. It lets me know that, you know, we've worked hard and it's really reaching out to people, you know, and that's what makes this worth it for me in general overall.
I'm in it because I love playing the drums, and this tour has kind of just happened, and it's a little early to say, but so far one of the best things is just being somewhere else and people are recognizing something that we had collectively just created, and it's I guess it's like a humbling thing, and it's a good feeling that people are enjoying something that you created or had been part of creating.
My favorite thing so far was the crowd at Local 506. You guys fucking rock.
Cool, very cool. I'm sure you guys are going to expect a lot of headbanging out of me when you see me on September 17th at Vision Studios in Atlanta.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That and some windmills. Hopefully my neck doesn't fall off. But if
Kevin
that
will-
happens,
Fingers to
Yeah,
help
I'll
you.
massage you, man. Don't worry.
They'll diddle you.
that'll help.
All
No,
right.
you didn't.
Is there anywhere in the world that you guys have always wanted to tour?
I've always wanted to tour Europe. I mean, they have a lot of killer festivals. My family, my grandparents came from Slovakia. I'd love to visit that area, and I think we'd do well in that market. I think people would appreciate the Crusadist blend of metal out there. So I think that would be a great experience. But really, I mean, the whole globe. I want to go everywhere.
Yeah, Europe definitely for me. A couple places, if I was to pinpoint them, would be Germany, Spain, and Greece, because I know they all have really strong metal roots and very passionate metal fans that all live there. And I love watching videos of fests and shows from any of those countries. And they always look like they're a lot of fun. So those would be my picks.
For me, definitely probably Europe, South America, and Canada, because obviously South America, we got a bigger following right now. And like, I don't know, there's something about the South American terrain, and I always liked about that nature feel too, and all of that. Like, it would be cool to play in South America just because of that.
I want to play where the festivals are, man. That's my dream, is to play in front of the huge crowds and throw down and know that many people are digging it and hear that fucking scream at the end of your song, you know? So wherever the festivals are, that's where I want to play. That's my dream.
I don't know, maybe Japan.
Yeah, Japan would be really cool too.
I heard there's a lot of crazy metalheads over there in Japan.
Yeah, I like the country's beautiful too, so it'd be awesome to see.
I think it's wonderful that you guys are going to be on the same stage with Lee Harrison. I've known him for 12 years now. Really good personal friend of mine.
He's a good dude. He's very, very, very cool guy. We're
Very
very
down to earth.
honored to be around him and to share this with him. We got a chance to open up for Terrorizer and Nile a little while back before the pandemic shut things down, and he's just a very, very awesome person.
I was wondering, do you guys have any children that are into metal music, or any family members that like it as much as
Yeah.
you do?
I have two sons, and they both are into metal. They're into their own stuff. They're not as heavily influenced as I was when I was their age, but that's kind of probably natural. Sometimes, you know, when your parents are really into something, children kind of rebel. But they're definitely into the metal scene and lots of different bands as well. My family is all supportive of it too. My brothers are big fans of metal. We always used to go to Guar shows every Halloween in Chicago together, and it's always been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm kind of the black sheep of the family. None of my family members are really into heavy metal. My brother touched on it a little bit when he was younger, but yeah, I'm pretty much it. And my parents were all, for lack of a better term, they were against a lot of, you know, that kind of stuff. Very religious household, but yeah, nowadays I've seen like the cool stuff you get to do and the nice people that really are involved in the metal community. So turn them around a little bit. But yeah, I was the only one.
For me, my parents have always been very supportive of this band. Always throughout all my bands, they've been very supportive. And I have cousins that always support all my bands, and especially this band because it's the best band I ever been in. Like, pretty much all my cousins and my brothers have always supported me as well. We're going to my brother's house actually right now. He's gonna let us crash for a couple days, so that's pretty cool of him. So
my dad bought me my first guitar, so my dad like got me into it. He's not really like a metalhead, but he did classic rock and stuff. And but other than that, Black Sheep, that's what it is.
Yeah, I know. I got a couple of both my brothers. They were big metalheads. Yeah, my one brother really got me into a lot of the music that I currently listen to, and I appreciate that because I love metal, and it changed my life.
That's awesome. Very, very awesome. I also wanted to ask you guys, do you guys remember the very first instrument you ever played?
For me, I was trying to be actually in the school band, and I always wanted to be a drummer, but they tried to stick me with wind instruments, and they were like, "Hey, play a clarinet. That's more suited for you." And I was like, "I'm not playing a damn clarinet," so I really wanted to play the saxophone, but it was way too expensive. My family couldn't afford it, so I learned how to scream really well.
I actually did play the clarinet when I was a kid. Yeah, that was the very first instrument that I played. I was in like 4th grade. Yeah, I picked up a guitar in 6th grade and then ditched everything else after that. It was like, all right, this is way cooler. Like,
That's cool. I actually played the clarinet in 4th grade as well, and so did my wife, believe it or not.
For me, it was definitely guitar, but before that, it was definitely air fiddle fingers. You know, I just sit there all day like this, and then sometimes rocking out to Manson in the dark with my hands like this, all.
I don't know if that's any better.
Got those fingers going again.
Oh my God. Anyway, I fucking, I mean, I played a little piano, but that sucked. And then like, I played guitar because my dad got me a guitar, and been playing guitar, and that's the only instrument really. I picked up a trumpet once, but it sounded like a duck bark.
Quack.
Oh yeah, I bugged my parents for drums for almost a whole year. I was banging on pots and pans and stuff, and finally they were nice enough to buy me one. And ever since then, I just took off with it, and just haven't put it down since. I worked 3 jobs to afford my first drum set, so you know, to which the album was recorded.
That's
Very
awesome.
I didn't know that.
Gonna plug in my phone so it doesn't die out. That's, you know, earlier. That's what threw me off. I was like, "What the hell's happening?"
You guys should see this. My cat's actually sound asleep next to me.
Chilling to the sweet sound of our voice and finger diddling.
Yeah, his name is Frostburger, and every time I play my guitar, he either runs around like a crazy cat or he falls asleep.
Right on.
That tells you how you're doing that day.
Yeah, I have 2 cats myself,
So
Hades and Nix, and they're little horses that trample everything. So they're crazy,
funny.
crazy, but they're huge.
There's times where I'll catch him and he'll just be like, wrong, wrong, wrong. I'm thinking, what's wrong, dude? He looks at me like, but I figured I'd show you because this cat loves metal, but he falls asleep to it sometimes too.
That's awesome. It's soothing to him.
It can
It's
be.
funny. I used to practice in my basement in old band back in the day, and when my son was very young, he used to fall asleep during our band practice, and the neighbors would call the police on us all the time. So it was a really weird dynamic. You know, they're over there thinking it's crazy too loud. My son's sound asleep.
That's amazing. Well, the last question that I have for you guys, do you have any last words for Underground Noise?
Thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us, and thank you very much for all your support, kind words, and we couldn't be more grateful for that. I mean, without people like you and things like this, it's the whole tree in the woods, no one to hear it fall. So we intend to make as much noise as possible, and you guys amplify that. So thank you.
They really can't add too much to it. I mean, you've been a huge supporter of us, and thank you for the review. And we need people like you to keep us going, and we appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for everything you do, man. Without people like you, we'll never reach out to anywhere. So we really appreciate you doing what you do for us.
I'd say final words are keep your eyes peeled. We got more coming your way.
Yeah.
Yeah, see you at the shows.
Yes. Thank you, Underground. Thank you, Alex, man. We'll see you in Atlanta.
Yes, sirs. I'll see you guys there.
Sounds good, brother.